till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters. And we ain't got nothing to hide, we move forward like soldiers.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome back in here to Pregaming on Sports Money, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. You know you're going to find it all here. We put the bow on the sports betting show. Last minute line movements, we talk about cash flow, the splits, the trends, the angles, the injuries, the weather elements, you name it. We try to put it all together for your last look to try to beat the book when it comes to getting that cash and building your bankroll. So welcome in this evening. I've got 9, I guess it says 10 on the deck here. I've got action in the NHL, action in college basketball, action in the NBA. I loaded up 2 plays for the PGA. This is back this week, the Sony Open in Hawaii, back and ready to fire this week. So we've got some action over there. Sadly, lost a soccer play that I gave out earlier today. Newcastle, man, they stink. I can't believe it. You know, I don't follow soccer that closely, albeit I do follow it. So, I mean, I don't get into the weeds of the players' names and all this other. I mean, I get some of the star players. I get it. Mbappe's and shit like that. Harry Kane and Ronaldo. I got it. But you shouldn't be on my radar for being a shit fraudulent team. And Newcastle United has found themselves firmly in my crosshairs here. It seems like I bet on them. They can't score. I bet on them to win. They end up losing or tying. Frustrating team out there. And, today I had both teams to score in over 2.5. It was 2-0. They couldn't get it done. Newcastle United bumps. After winning it all, too, it's really surprising to see bum status in that EFL Cup. But, hey, that's okay. We live to fight another day. We had a nice night last night. Sadly, the Steelers didn't get there. The Stillers. But I would like to say, pretty sure I'm 100% on coach firings. I have a very good beat on front office to coaching and the gap and transition process. We said Mike McDaniels had to go. He's gone. You can't do the things the way he does things. He's just too young. He should get himself an offensive coordinator position, learn for a few years. Yeah, you want to be the big man, but you still have to get a little separation between you and those all-star players, because when you start shit-talking Tyreek Hill, telling him he let the team down in a big moment, you'd be lucky he doesn't just outright assault you. And certainly, you can't take the credibility from that superstar in that locker room without dividing the squad. Now you've created I back coach or I back Hill. Well, the coach can potentially control my playing time, but Hill's a loudmouth. How do we do this, right? So that was an issue that we talked about way back at the end of last season. So he had to go. Bad contract for Tua. We talked about this Baltimore Ravens squad and Harbaugh. Had to go. Can't get him over that next step. And, of course, now you've got a guy in Lamar Jackson that said he wanted out. He was tired of Harbaugh. You could see that rift taking place. And sometimes you just need that new voice. This guy's now matured enough. He's gone through the development. Think about it. Harbaugh knows like the skeletons in the closet from when he was a rookie. You know, maybe he showed up late. Maybe he shit his pants in that one game. You want your coach reminding you when things get tough that, remember that time you shit your pants and I had to, wipe your bottom for you? No, you don't want that. You have to turn past that so that he can break through and try to become the man that he should be, albeit I don't know if I totally buy into him being a man. Mike Tomlin, not making adjustments as games advance and progress, standing out there being known that he's a statue and you can take advantage of this guy. We saw it last night, not able to advance and progress, and you got to go. Now McDermott gets a reprieve. He won last week. Jacksonville game, big opportunity, but they're still saying if they don't get past and get to that Super Bowl this year, McDermott's out. So we'll see if I'm that close to this process as well. But I think I know a little bit of something, especially when it comes to building teams and bringing the right caliber of management and personnel to the table. So some guys get mad. They get upset when you pick on McDaniels. And hey, look, I don't care. I know how it goes. I see it. I've been involved with it. I've been at highest levels of conversation around team building for very many successful organizations. And so I saw it. I know what's happening. I see what's coming down the pike. Now, you can get rid of Nick Sirianni in Philadelphia, and I never said they should. But the offensive coordinator, they sure could get rid of him. Out of here. Now, the rumors are Jalen Hurts might not be sophisticated enough to buy into complex formations. But another offensive coordinator, this will make 6-6 for Jalen Hurts. No quarterbacks ever had to deal with that much offensive coordinator transition in their NFL career. We'll see how that advances and progresses. We got some big games on deck. Obviously, finished wild card weekend, and a wild state it was. Some overs on Saturday, some unders on Sundays. Under last night, cashed our first half under again. So, yeah, I'm a little disappointed. I feel like I rolled in about 500 in wild card weekend here. I mean, obviously, my Packers-Bears situation was electric. It was legendary. Cashing that out and then taking a plus 170 on both teams to score. Listen, we're not just throwing darts at the wall and hoping that we can find a spot that just continues to be hot. No. We dig in. We could have settled for a minus 130. Both teams are first period over, but we said no. These two teams are two of the hottest offensives in hockey. High expectation goal probabilities. Let's take them, both teams to score. So that was good. The Bills was free money as far as I'm concerned. They were never going to lose that game, and they didn't. The under in the Niners-Eagles game was a cash. I sadly did not get that teaser between the Eagles and the Jags, and then certainly the Eagles and the Chargers. The Chargers got busted up, and I did not get the Chargers. Did get the first half in that Chargers game under. Got the first half in the Texans game, and then, of course, missed out on the Steelers and Texans overall. So Steelers blew it. Disappointed. Just not happy with the way that thing went down, but that's okay. Got to be transparent. Got to stay accountable. We did have a decent night, though, when it comes to growing the bankrolls here with Pregaming, the show that puts them all on blast, puts them all on notice. We flat bet. We're not trying to get cute. We're not trying to chase losses. We're not trying to lie about the numbers. We're trying to show you guys you can build your bankroll, play consistently. You want to get cute. You want to go heavy on something. That's your prerogative. But I'm going to share with you guys the card that I like and the trends that go along with it. And we did well last night. College hoops wise, Florida A&M gets the cash for us a plus 1.5. Never in doubt. Won the game 91-84 outright against Grambling. We talked about how bad that Grambling defense was. And then Bethune-Cookman minus 4.5 does not cash for us. So we split, which is okay. It's fine. Not going to win them all anyways. But we did fire in the NHL. We got the Seattle Kraken plus 117. New York Rangers at home until further notice, right? We got the Tampa Bay under 6 and Tampa Bay. We didn't cash the full ticket, but we did cash enough of the ticket to be profitable. We had about 0.7 units in that thing because it was a 4-2 final. Or was it 5-1? 5-1, I think, was the final. Pushed the 6, but got Tampa Bay. So all good to go. And then we did not get the over 6.5 in the Edmonton-Chicago game. So 2-1 in the NHL. Okay. 66%. We'll take that as profit. Firebomb the NBA. The Utah Jazz plus 13.5. Told you guys the wrong team was favored. I wasn't bullshitting you. The wrong team was favored. 123-112. Should have been more than a plus 450 money line. But Utah Jazz come through and get the cash. The Philadelphia 76ers. I don't know why people... I said this when I gave you the breakdown yesterday. I heard some respectable NBA cappers talking about how the Sixers team just doesn't have it. Dude, it's the duplex spot. Stop it. Stop it. The Dallas Mavericks, what a tremendous opportunity for that game out there. They won by 8, And it was that huge letdown after that Bulls that had us really wanting to fire back on this Mavericks team at home. The Lakers shit the bed. They lost by 12 outright to the worst team in the NBA. I don't know if the Kings are the worst team in the NBA. They might be on track. I'm not sure entirely. But then the Steelers +3. Yeah, look, I ate that one. That sucks. It is what it is. But we do have a glorious card this evening, so we will get to work. You guys know the deal. Let's hit that smashy thummy, uppy. We're going to talk about the Canadians and Capitals, the Canucks and the Senators, and the Leafs and the Mammoth. I've got an Instagram play of the day out there. It's a +170. We'll talk about that one. Then we'll go to college hoops. We'll talk about Virginia and Louisville, a ranked battle between top 25 opponents, Iowa State and Kansas, and a rare Kansas dog at home situation. And we'll wrap her up with Grand Canyon and New Mexico. Not Old Mexico, New Mexico. Talk a little bit about that spot there with a 6.5-point spread. Flipping her over to the NBA, we've got the Nuggets and Pelicans, a huge trend in that game. We've got the Bulls and the Rockets, a unique trend in that game, a tailor-made trend for that Bulls and Rockets game. And then we'll wrap her up with the Blazers and the Warriors. Can Golden State exact revenge? That's what we're here to figure out tonight together. You guys know, appreciate y'all being here. Let's get this thing rolling. Let's smash that thumbs up button and let's roll our sleeves up and get to work. Got to make some money. Time to get that cat. Let's go. All right. Do want to shout out the Win Club. You guys can certainly find action over at Winnable. I'm going to start doing a lot more of that early release stuff. I mean, I know the PGA starts on Thursday, and here it is Tuesday, but I think some of those unique little spots, some of those niche sports, some of those ones that maybe aren't so mainstream, I think I'll post those over there so that you guys can take a look. Of course, I'll share them with our silver and gold members as well. As a way to say thank you guys for continuing to show up and roll on with us as we build this community, as we build this network, as we build this space. Lots of things coming in the future, of course. We're just the 24th. Write it down, circle it, highlight it, underline it. The UFC is back and Paramount for some live coverage. We're going to change up the way we do First Strike for you guys. Going to share I think a updated format. I think a blend of a new format that you guys will enjoy because we're going to cover more of the board in less of the time. Nobody wants to hear, they're going to move forward, they're going to battle, they're zombie fighters. No. We're going to cover more board, less time, give you more betting angles to consider. Then we're going to roll on in to the new live shows on Saturdays for the UFC. Going to reevaluate the way that we bring that production to the table as well. So lots happening here. And of course, we're still finishing up the NFL. Fortunately for us, we've got the divisional round this weekend. We've got the semifinals or the conference finals and then the Super Bowl. So a couple weeks left. We'll be live for you guys for the national championship in the college football bracket there, Indiana and Miami. So the NFL season's winding down, but there is plenty on deck. And wait till you get to the spring. You guys know we literally set the high water mark in baseball this past year, 152.5 baseball units. Funny, a lot of guys thought they could keep up. A lot of guys thought they could cap. All I found is they've been taking a nap, I guess, because I haven't seen them anywhere. No heads nor tails of these guys here. They tucked tail and ran away because they can't compete. And that's okay. It's not a competition. It's us versus the bookies. Let's shout out you guys, see who's checking in with us. Let's get to work. Get your best bets in the chat. Blake M is here. SF Niner says Purdy has entered the chat, and he says Harbaugh to Pittsburgh. Harbaugh has now been indicated in going to New York Giants, Green Bay Packers, and now the Pittsburgh Steelers, says SF Niner. I don't think he should go to the Steelers. I think he's got to get out of that division, but that's just me. Maybe that's the benefit of bringing him in, is that he's got all the detail and the dirt on the big competitor in that division. maybe that's a good angle to look at for it. Peter Gracia says, sup, Mikey, Houston, and the under tees catch. Nice job, my dude. Nice job. Robert McCormick's here. Mr. Weskers says, big games tonight. Big card. Nasty Nate Cash with his Pats first half. KV says, thought that was yesterday. Utah money line, unusually low for big ass point spread. Kelly V, NBA. That was yesterday. That was a yesterday casher. Stash and cash for us here. Let's talk about today's cashers. Let's talk about today's opportunities to get to the bank. And let's open it up with the Montreal Canadiens and the Washington Capitals. Thought tonight's, if you guys like the trends and angles, I know you do. We all do, right? We all like them as a little weather vane to help us try to figure out what's going on tonight. We got some really great opportunities for them. So get yourselves ready. I think we've got some really unique ones here that should help us pave the way to victory. Let me update my goalie report here. Yikes. It's been sitting here since this morning as we try to tack into some of these games. Really great NHL card. 4 weeks, 3.5 weeks left till the Winter Olympic break. I saw the arenas finally finished over there in Milan. Now, the practice facility is another story. Those dressing rooms look like look like a house under construction. Drywall tape still on the wall, and certainly no foam down to protect those skates as they roll around. But Montembeault will get the start for Montreal Canadiens. The Washington Capitals will go with their ace in the hole and Logan Thompson. And Montreal's on the second leg of that back-to-back. We saw what they did the other day. Big win. Had them -1 on the win club. They were able to come through for us. Lots of great live betting opportunities. I know our guy Dylon was live betting those boys as well. Montembeault got hurt. They kind of cycled through a 3-goalie rotation on the Montreal side of things here. They put him in the AHL, and he looks good. I mean, AHL is certainly a tick down, but 2.34 goals against average. He's averaging 3.39 on the season as a whole with an 86.9% save percentage, and he had a 91.7 in that 3-game conditioning stint, went 3-0. Washington Capitals have shown they're vulnerable. They've lost 4 of their last 6. They will go to Logan Thompson, who himself has been dealing with the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of midseason mediocrity, 4-game losing streak before coming out on top of that Chicago Blackhawks team 5-1. He had a 95.8% save percentage. Fantastic performance. For this guy to go to a 2.35 goals against average. So you put these two together, you start thinking about how you want to approach the game. I don't want to take either side, to be honest with you. I mean, the Canadiens, they got the Vancouver Canucks. They beat them 6-3. They were down much of that game, and then they just exploded. Bang, bang, bang with goals. So 4 wins in their last 5 games. They're 4-1. If anything, I would probably want to think about I can't officially say I want to think about the Montreal Canadiens. I just don't. To me, it would be Capitals or nothing. The thing about the Capitals spot, though, when it comes to this total is where I want to get involved. And I took the under 6. When the Capitals play a team on the second leg of a back-to-back, they're 9-0 to under. It's that simple. The other team sits around trying to play defense so they don't get shelled. And Washington's been playing to their level of competition. It's evident in their 23-17 record on the season. So why not take a shot? It's under 6 for this Washington Capitals. Riding that second leg of a back-to-back. They're not winning. They're not scoring. Feels like a great fit. And you got the goaltender coming back on the Montreal Canadiens side of things that says, hey, I'm conditioned. I'm ready to be back in the NHL. Let's finish this next 3 weeks strong before we go to the Olympics. And I think this is just that lower, slower scoring type of game. Feeling each other out for the first period and a half before things maybe start to open up at the end of the second period into the third. Kelly D says Dallas, second half of a back-to-back, 13-1. Columbus Blue Jackets fired. Coach, KV, I'm surprised. Your favorite angle. I'm surprised. I didn't see you talk about it. Maybe you will. Maybe you will. I don't know if it's your favorite angle. It feels like it is. And what do we got next to the Vancouver Canucks and the Ottawa Senators? Look, I'm not going to put lipstick on this pig. It's still going to be a pig. This team's fucked. This to me is the auto play. And you might not like it. You might not believe in it. You might think there's some tinfoil hat conspiracy behind it. But Ottawa Senators, broken team. Now, the rumor was some guys like to go on the road, and what happens on the road stays on the road. Or at least that's the rule. The rumor is what happened on the road didn't stay on the road. And then, talk about telling the wrong one. Nothing worse than a woman's scorn. And so we've been fading this Ottawa Senators team because chemistry just ain't right. Your girl called my girl. She showed her what I did when I was down in Atlanta. I mean, whoa. And where I think there's smoke, there's fire. That's just a too crazy a story to be. That's like when Carter, Jeff Carter, Mike Richards, and Simone Gagne had issues in Philadelphia. The story's a little too specific. And then, as it turned out, after they went to LA and won Stanley Cups, Richards has his was it ecstasy problem with crossing the border? I mean, it all kind of tied back together. So I know a lot of these things start out as conspiracies until they're proven, and then everyone doesn't want to talk about it. So that being said, 4 straight losses for this Ottawa Senators team here. And you're catching Vancouver, who maybe not playing the best hockey in the world right now, but in a situation where they're now talking about bringing back the goaltender that the goaltender heard around the world, the guy that stirred up this hornet's nest himself. I don't know. I think this is a great opportunity. I'm not going to lay $2.30 on the Ottawa Senators. No, sir. Not in their 1-7 streak in their last 8 games. Hell no. Especially knowing that the locker room's broken. Dysfunctional family they are. And in all fairness, the Vancouver Canucks have been playing better hockey on the road. Now, you could say that they're $2 favorites, $2.30 favorites, because the Vancouver Canucks have just been getting busted up, and they have been. 7 straight losses. This is their 5th straight road game, but this is that power of the 5. And we have another one of these 5s coming up in the NBA tonight as well. When you get to that 5th spot, it's hard to sustain it. And of course, now you're looking at a road trip that's coming into game number 5 at Ottawa, off of absorbing loss after loss after loss. We talked about being in a fade position. They got this game. They got one more against Columbus before they go back home, and then they begin a monster I think it's an 8-game rip at home. So I think the end is coming near for this losing streak. I think tonight they picked this one up against Ottawa. I think the over cashes in that Columbus and Vancouver game, that last game on the road, they'll have to go to I don't know, probably you'll probably see Merzlikins on the Columbus side of things. And Columbus is one of them teams that's scoring offensively, showing a lot of firepower. They'll be coming back home after their road trip. So I think that there's 2 plays for you guys to consider with this Vancouver, how we play Vancouver and Ottawa, even how it relates to that Thursday, January 15th game against the Columbus Blue Jackets. That's the way we are going to wrap up that Vancouver Canucks game. We're going to take that $2. We're going to take the big dog against the dysfunctional family right now and see if we can't bring that to the bank. We got one more game in the NHL. We got the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Utah Mammoth. Here's another situation. Andrew Case's conspiracy theorists are up 37-0. At some point, they're not conspiracies anymore. They're just the way they are. Cody says, can you get your thoughts on the Jets Islanders? Can the Jets get 4 wins in a row, or is it too good to be true? I put a play out there for winnable today, Mr. Cody Norton. But I like the Jets. That's not the play that I put out there. I put a total out there, but I could see the Jets finding a way. Again, these teams, there's this kind of end is near. This 3.5 weeks from now, they'll be at All-Star break or Olympic, break. And so this is kind of where you circle around a little bit, and then you kind of focus in, put yourself on the line a little bit, because you're going to have about 3 weeks off before you get back to business again to finish off the NHL season. So I think, these teams that are starting to collect losses, maybe find a little bit of a reprieve out there. And the scumbag play of the day is on Providence. Plus 2.5. My guy, of course, Cody. Happy to assist my dude. Always want to answer the questions for our guys in green. to the best of our abilities, of course. Toronto Maple Leafs and the Utah Mammoth. The last game I got for you guys in the NHL, there is IG play of the day. It's a plus 170 spot out there. We'll talk a little bit about it. I'll tease it, and then I'll ask you guys to go check it out and hit the like on it if you would kindly. First time where there's been more traffic from non-followers than followers on Instagram. So maybe this consistency and commitment to posting these plays is paying off. I don't know. Toronto Maple Leafs will go on the road after a huge win last night against the Colorado Avalanche. Talk about the Instagram play of the day. That was like a 27-0 straight spot out there when the Avalanche were mid-tier favorites, $200 or more. Actually, I think it was over $1.60. As long as they were in that $1.60 to like $3.50 range. They had like 27 straight wins going on. And Toronto snaps the back, breaks the streak, and they're rolling on out here for the second leg of elevation. Now, usually they'll go from either Utah to Colorado or Colorado to Utah. Here's the thing about this Colorado team, or I'm sorry, this Toronto team. You don't get galvanized after taking a beating, a bloodbath beating through the holiday season out there, just losing and everyone saying, here we go again. And then you lose Austin Matthews and people are getting hurt galore, your goaltending issues. And you turn the corner post New Year's and you start collecting a couple wins. And then players start coming back and they start getting healthy. And now you got a Utah Mammoth team that, frankly, look, play great at home. And it's that elevation factor. But Toronto's they just played at elevation. So should they tucker out or should they grip down and go hard? They're going to go to Hildeby is what it looks like from a goaltending perspective. Probably not a bad thing. Because when you bring a guy like this in, he's 4-5-4. So they're not winning a ton of games behind this guy. I mean, 4-9 essentially with this guy in the pipes. But he's averaging 91.4% saving. So it tells me that they're putting defense forward. They're playing defensive-oriented hockey. And when you're going into Utah, that's what you have to do. Because if you let Utah get away from you, especially at home, their ability to put pucks in net, going to be an issue. Vejmelka, 2 or fewer goals in 6 of his last 8 games. So it kind of does speak a little bit to a lower, slower scoring game out there. And he's been playing better with a 2.12 goals against average against his 2.63 on the season. So respect it, but Toronto's 8-0-2 in their last 10. It's not time to get off the Toronto train. It's time to take them again at plus 125. Keep on riding, keep the course. Let's see how long we can ride these guys within reason, because at some point, this is going to be $1.25 against them, not for them. And I think I want to keep this positive cash flow in our back pocket as long as we can. Again, within reason, but that's the way I want to finish off the NHL. Now, there is an Instagram play of the day out there. I'm going to tell you this. If you cashed with me on the Vegas, both teams to score first period, you're going to like this play because it's almost an identical fit. 2 hockey teams rolling in, scoring a shit ton of goals, and specifically scoring a shit ton of goals in the first period. So there is both teams to score first period play out there on the Instagram play of the day for you guys. Free. All you got to do is go over there, check it out. And if you sign up at Winnable for the free plays, you already got it text alerted to you so you can catch the best value there was to be had in that play. So do check it out. If you haven't done so already, get there with me. It's a late starter. Plenty of time to get that play in. Let's move over to college hoops. Keep this thing going here. Keep a brisk pace. Keep her moving for you guys here so we can get through these next 6 plays. Put a bow on the show and get you guys up to the window to place your bets. This game pops off here. First game we're looking at, one of my favorite underschools in Virginia. And Virginia comes into this thing as a dog. I think the wrong team's favored. The problem that they're dealing with right now is Louisville's still about a week away from play on. They're beat up. They're still injured. They're still trying to get their pieces back in the lineup. And that's going to be problematic because that team likes to run fast. And you can see that's evident in the home team and 153.5 being the total that they're laying. Okay. They're saying that Virginia is going to dictate pace. I disagree. I think that their key shooting guard, there's just too many pieces question marks and uncertainty around it. So you got 90% of the bets and 87% of the cash on the Virginia side of things. And the line's gone from plus 3.5 to plus 4.5. Scares me a little bit to be playing a Virginia spot. Plus 175 on the money line, though. It seems like a fair price tag. It kind of coordinates or correlates with the 4.5. This total, though, 152.5 has moved to 153.5, and you got 58% of the bets and 59% of the cash on the over. I don't think that the public generally realizes the depth and magnitude of the home court lack of personnel. And so if you're a team that wants to go fast, you're effective, your three-point shooters aren't hitting even 40% right now on the season, where are those points coming from? In fact, the other side of things here, this Virginia team storming the beaches. They're 4-1 to the under their last 5. Louisville's got a perfect 5 straight unders running into this game as well. So at first I thought, you know what, this under looks a little suspicious, but then I looked at it further. I saw the injuries, the key personnel and the three-point shooting injuries for Louisville. Virginia unders are 44-22. And then we've got an under that does support the Louisville side of things. So not just the unders. I've got a Houston's an under team that I like. Frankly, West Virginia's an under team that I like. Virginia's an under team that I like. But I need to see a stat on the other side that kind of speaks to the under for me as well to really feel comfortable with it. And this is where I saw the home teams off a win that rank higher. That the opponent ranks higher is off a win, are 7-2 to the under. Home team, win. Opponents ranked higher, 1, 7-2 to the under. So that one kind of fell in line with saying, okay, well, Louisville can turn some pace in this spot and keep this thing under as well. And I think that just correlates with the injuries that are out there. So I took the under. Took the under 154.5. 153.5s are out there now. It's fine. Nicholas Andy says notorious under. I feel like I play a lot of unders. I feel like I play some unders. I got an over in the NBA tonight. I guess it's got to be situational, right? I mean, the public likes to play overs, and so I automatically think there's value on the unders. Now, I'll tell you one of the stats for you guys to consider when it comes to the NBA. I did write this down. I don't know how this maybe it was in my subconscious, and so it worked its way back up to form here. But look, unders, NBA. In 2026, so since January 1st, the unders in the NBA are 62-28. They're hitting at a 69% clip. Keep that in mind as you're looking at these NBA games and thinking, like the other one the other night with the 250.5. Keep that in mind. Keep me in mind. All right, let's go here. The truth says tick, tick, tick. Tough way to watch these games to think you don't want scores, but shout out to JPZ, LA to the Bay, Kelly V. Where are you with one of your favorites? You got to give it some consideration tonight on top of it. Kind of falls in line. Boy. No? Going. Connor McDavid's birthday, Edmonton Oilers. Look, Connor McDavid to score the first goal plus 850. Connor McDavid to get 2 goals plus 700. Connor McDavid to get 3 goals plus 3,500. Game, I think we're going to see some offense out there. You know what you got to do out there. Got to go out there and fire it up and take a shot with some Connor McDavid. Come on, KV. Where were you on that one? Come on. It's the birthday spot. Shout out to AOD, says Sports Money Network Forever. There's Ramon Scott dropping some knowledge. There's 108 of Virginia's last 110 ACC night games have finished with 154 points or less. For sure, my dude. Straight under. Except I think I lost an under on him the other day. I don't know how that's possible, but team that goes under so consistently, and I found the spot where they cracked it over. Mr. Wesker says, Mikey, what you think of Florida Gators tonight? All right, so this was a first cut. This was a first cut for me in terms of that Florida Gators game. And I do lean to the Gators. You know what? I'll make it an official play. Since you asked, Mr. Wesker, I was ready to talk about this one. I just kind of didn't want to pull the trigger too early. I thought we might see some movement, but anyhow, We are where we are. The Florida Gators, 9-0 against the spread. Regular season favorite of less than or equal to 28.5 points. They're getting these games in there by 24.1 points a game on average. They should stomp on Oklahoma because Oklahoma comes in here 0-8 against the spread. Rested dog, more than 4.5 points. Totals over 134. Facing a team off a 6 or more point win. In other words, when that team that they're playing is clicking and they're a dog, it's for a reason. They're getting busted up by 19 points a game in those spots as well. So, look, Florida on home court, if they're favored on a non-neutral, they find themselves 8-0. If they allowed more than 2 3-pointers and more than 42% shooting the previous game. In other words, they kind of bounce back a little bit, even though it's hard to imagine Florida coming off a big win, needing to be in a bounce back position, but they're winning those games by over 26.5 points a clip as well. So there you go. There you go, Mr. Weskers. Love to support the guys in green. You guys have them questions. Do my best to answer. I'm going to take Iowa State in this Iowa State-Kansas matchup here. A couple things going on with this game. Excuse me. Iowa State side of things. Look, they're playing phenomenal ball. They're coming into this thing tuned up. They're ready to roll. Oh, by the way, Florida opened at 4.5. It's moved to 6.5. It's got some 7.5s out there. So I'll make the 6.5 an official play for you guys here. Since you asked, 56% of the bets, 53% of the cash. It's moved points in their direction. It's good enough for me. I'm good with that movement. Let's keep her moving. Let's talk about Iowa State opening at 3.5 without any movement. And it's been pretty split. 57% of the bets are on Iowa State, but 52% of the cash are on Kansas. The money lines come down significantly on the Iowa State side of things here. So the public and the sharps, they just said, fuck the points. Let's take Iowa State. And the line went from minus 194 to minus 162. This total went from 143.5 to 151.5. It actually went as high as 152.5 before settling back here as of late. And so you got the number 2 team in the land, hasn't lost a game. At what point, like we talked about before, at what point does your head start playing tricks on you? We're 16-0. We better not play stupid. But let's tighten up. We got too much at risk. Let's just go on. I don't know, but I don't want to get involved in stepping in front of Iowa State right now. They're busting everybody up that gets in their way. Now, they did have a couple of spots where they were aggressively lined in points against some shit teams like Long Beach. We know Long Beach is struggling this season. 37.5. They won by 31. So you give them some scrub balls, and you tell them to go out there and cover a 40 spot. Probably not in the cards for them. I think they just got tired of beating on them. It was 91-60. And then they followed it up. Houston Christian, 89-61. It's Houston Christian or Holy Cross. Yeah, Houston Christian. Had a 50-50 shot. Got it. Yeah. 89-61. Again, 35.5 points, but number 2 in the land. You bring in some younger players to get some court time as you're getting ready to move through conference play and get ready for the big dance. Iowa State's one of those teams that should be able to go out there and show some resolve and perseverance. Then they start playing teams like West Virginia. There's one of my favorite under schools. It did go under 80-59, but they were at home. That was Iowa State. If that was in West Virginia, probably would have fired on that under. At Baylor, 70-60. There's another under. I think the under is a really strong look in this game, but I'm not going to get in the way of Iowa State right now. Let them go out there and fuck these boys up. It's a tight school. It's a program where we should see them finish the entire way through. Not, probably they'll go up by 15 points. They'll let their backs down a little, their guard down a little bit. Then we'll see them fight back at the end and find a way to get, 3-point cover. I think they can win this game by 5, and that should be enough for us to get the cover when it comes to Iowa State, not getting in the way of that monster bomber that's been going on. And Nicholas Haney says Kansas cannot rebound. The other thing to that, it's funny you bring that up, Nicholas Haney, because one of the things that I was looking at and trying to figure out, like the angle to fade Kansas, if they had less than 11 turnovers the previous game, the under's 32-4. So it kind of goes back to like, I think Iowa State has their way with these guys. And I just think Kansas is going to have a tough time staying in this game. They start missing a couple baskets. It could get ugly pretty quickly here. So The under seemed like a really good play. Kansas team total under maybe as well, but I'm going to take the Iowa State -2.5. I gave you guys a couple different ways to look at that game. And I like all of them. I don't know about the Kansas team total as much. I don't know about that one as much. I guess I got to think about that a little bit more. But I've got one last game for you guys in the association. It's Grand Canyon Mountain West battle, 3-1 in the Mountain West Grand Canyon. We successfully faded them the other day, and I think we're going to find a way to successfully fade them again today. We're going to take this New Mexico side of things here. One, you've heard me talk about my affinity for that home court advantage that New Mexico has. Now, we talked about them the other day. We played them. We cashed them. They were laying like 19.5. They just spanked the boys, knocked the bottom off them. And 57% of the bets and 60% of the cash have come in on the New Mexico side of things. Yet, this total's come down from 8.5 to 6.5. Now, sometimes we look at this and say, okay, it's reverse line movement. And I thought that at first as well. But what helped me get to the window and place the bet was looking at it saying, probably this line got right-sized. Because they just played San Jose State Grand Canyon and they took that loss. They were 18.5 point favorites. They did not cover. Now they beat them up. They just didn't cover. I think they, depending on the line you got, it was right around the hook. So now you got a team that's coming in here in New Mexico that's beating the brakes off of everybody. 4-1 ATS their last 5. And a Grand Canyon team that comes in here off a non-cover, 1-3 in their last 4. I think they right-sized the line. I think 8.5 was probably getting to the fringe of too many. Can they go out there and win by 10, 12 points? And so it comes down to 6.5 now. And that's where I got comfortable was after I think we saw the line bottom out. I wanted to then jump in at it and say, okay, I think they can go out there and win this game by 8 or 9 points. Probably get to that double-digit spot. But 8.5 was, to me, it just felt like a few too many. And the fact that it's come down 2 points got me to feel comfortable in buying in on this New Mexico team. Just pace of play, being at home, the way they go after it. By the way, I meant to say, Iowa State, after scoring 82 or more points, they're in the zone. The auto zone. 83-21 for Iowa State as I look back at my notes in that spot. So I really like that Iowa State. I really like I like all 3 of these plays in college hoops here and the Florida spot, the added Florida spot. I think we have a nice little college basketball card in front of us here this evening. Nicholas Henning says TCU almost whooped Kansas on their own court. Final possession type game. I agree. I bit the side of my cheek. We got some tennis actions from SF Niner. Well, Borges. I'm not sure how to say it. Doesn't mean they can't play it. SF Niner says over 6.5 in Tampa Bay Lightning game. Sure, why not? My only concern with that one is how many times is Tampa Bay going to keep firing at the rate that they are? Because they have been firing, and they fired again last night against them Philadelphia Flyers. I think the second leg of a back-to-back, they go defense. But good luck to you, my guy. Just some extra thoughts as you guys consider your plays here. In the NBA, we're going to talk about 3 games that I've got for you guys here. The Denver Nuggets, the New Orleans Pelicans, the Pelicanos. All right, I gave the Kings some grief and said they're the worst team in football or basketball. Until I played the Jazz, and then I played the Jazz at plus 34.5, and I lost by 50.5. Now, they did totally redeem them. I don't know about totally. They didn't totally redeem themselves, but they played a good game the other day there, and we were able to get that cash. But these Pelicans, man, these guys might be in contention. 6-17 on your fucking home court. You're losing at a 65% rate at home. And it's not just home. They're losing everywhere. They ain't discriminating home or road. They did beat the Wizards at the Wizards. Now, take that one out of the equation. That Wizards team had just made some big-time player trades and didn't have all their pieces. All their ducks weren't in a row. They still had guys shipping out of town and guys shipping into town. When's the bus arrive? Go pick them up, right? Outside of there, they're what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 losses. 1-10. In fact, they were going for 10 straight losses, and they got the win. I told you it's hard to get to double-digit spots when it comes to some of these teams. So with this Pelican side of things, I can't get involved. They're horrible. They're just fucking horrible. And the Nuggets, for as bad as they are, I mean, the injuries that they're dealing with out there, they're still 15-7 on the road. So it's a tricky, trappy little line here with 2.5. The Nuggets, we did hear him say that they didn't care if they were healthy or not. They felt they had the depth and the pieces and the personnel, which I think makes sense. If you're a team, like you look at some of these teams that, Denver Nuggets, you go to the championship a couple times and your draft picks become shit in the first round. So you trade those first rounders and you bubble together a second and third rounder to go move up the draft board in the second round. Ergo, your depth, contrary to what you would think, right? Like some people would think, oh, these guys, their draft picks stink. Well, your draft pick stinks. So you drop back in the draft to move up overall in terms of the global depth of the program. And so I think we're seeing that with this Nuggets team. You lose key personnel and you still find a way to be competitive. In fact, 3-1 in their last 4 games. And in all fairness, they beat the Sixers. They beat the Celtics, both in their barns. They beat the Bucks. Bucks are dealing with some of their own injuries. And they didn't beat Atlanta. Here's the thing about that Atlanta game. It's kind of like the Wizards. You suck. Nobody wants to be there. So if you're the opponent, you certainly aren't bringing your A game to the table. And that's what I think happened with the Nuggets. So long story short, I think the Nuggets do bust these boys up. I don't like the line movement or lack thereof. This thing's been sitting around that 2.5 all day long. And so it did concern me a little bit. I guess it's actually moving against them now. Well, there's 1.5s and 3s out there. So listen, I think the Nuggets win. If you're going to take the Nuggets, you should take them on the money line. It's minus 120. You got 81% of the bet, 76% of the cash on the Nuggets. I ain't going to mess with that. I'm going to go back on this and say, I think that the public fucked this total up. Or the books did. They had to right size it. 235.5 moved down to 233. And I'm jumping in on the over. I got some thoughts going on with this thing here. The Nuggets games, when they're road favorites, they lead pace. 12-4 to the over in those spots out there. They're scoring 126 points themselves. So essentially, we just need the Pelicans to, get like 105, 106 points. If we're stat casting this thing out there, the Nuggets, conference favorite, overs their opponents off a road loss. 14-3. They've cashed the over 11 straight times. And nighttime overs versus Denver. After a spread loss, you're 37-18. You've gone over 10 straight times in those positions. And for those reasons, I think we do see points. And the public brought it down for us. This would have been a spot where I was like, we got reverse line movement. But I think it's hard for the books to figure out what action they can take on these games when these teams fucking stink. Mr. Wesker's going to back the Nuggets. LALV says first period over. 1.5 in the Pens and Tampa game. Mr. Weskers is laughing about tennis. SF Niners has waited for Stuttgart to go down 1-0, then hammered their money line. Fucking Newcastle. Ruined my afternoon. Chicago Bulls and the Houston Rockets will be game 2 of 3. Timmy Two Shoes. We just talked about it, my dude. First goal, plus 850. 2 goals, plus 700, I think I said. And 3+, why not? 3+ goals for Connor McDavid. 3,500, 35-1. The birthday boy. We'll see if that angle rings true for us this evening. The Chicago Bulls and the Houston Rockets. I've been really in this, I don't want to say zigzag, right? We've talked about the dupe. These aren't, we didn't invent these spots. This isn't like the fourth quarter over where we invented that fourth quarter over. Is just looking at the trend and seeing the data. It's like, how could you not keep firing on it here? But we've got a couple of spots, like the bounce back revenge. We now added the duplex this year. That's fucking glorious one out there. Cash for us again last night. 74% of the bet, 73% of the cash came in on the Chicago Bulls. Road dog, public road dog. Chicago Bulls got that win against the Dallas Mavericks, okay? Situationally speaking, they should have never got that win. Public was all over Dallas. It was a Dallas bounce back spot. It was a flat spot because the Bears were playing too. And it was like just Dallas shut down. Now Dallas rightfully got the ship back in the right direction at home. They play well at home. And guess who else plays well at home? The Houston Rockets. This team, 22-14. The Chicago Bulls, maybe a little inept, but I think this is that situation that we look for. This team in the Chicago Bulls lost 3 straight games. They snuck a win in there on the Dallas Mavericks that they shouldn't have lost. Now, you can argue with me and say they were 4.5-point favorites. What do you mean they shouldn't have won? But I didn't think they should have won. The situational cap spot said that was a Rockets game, so they fucked things up a little bit. It's like a guy you're playing blackjack with next to you, and he's got 16 and he hits this time. It's like, dude, you just fucked the shoe up for everybody. And this Rockets team, they stink. They stink less at home than they do on the road. They just played 3 straight road games. They haven't been covering for shit. But we have a patented spot that fits this Houston Rockets perfectly. And what it says here is, if they scored 100 points or less, the total's over 220, you play on the Rockets specifically. You're 9-1 your last 10. You're 15-2 overall. That's a bounce back spot for the Rockets. In other words, they couldn't have shit the bed anymore. You couldn't be buying them any lower. And they fire. But the situational pattern spot here was 5 straight ATS losses, 3 straight losses after 3 straight road games. It doesn't happen that often. You got to imagine. You lost 5 straight against the spread. You lost 3 in a row. And you just lost on the road 3 straight road games. But you're coming back home. Mama, I'm coming. 3-0. 3-0 are teams in those spots as well. So all of this situationally fits a Houston Rockets bounce back. And then you look at the spread. And so some of you guys that look at these big spreads and get scared away from them going, there's how they're going to cut. Yeah. And all that money's coming in on the Bulls and it's not moving at all. Tells you the Rockets should go literally put the belt to ass. If you want to chop it down, I do like the Rockets as a first half team as well. I could certainly see them coming out there in the first half and getting that cover too. If you want to double dip it, then that's another play for you as well. But I laid the Rockets. I laid the 12.5 on the Rockets. That was a premium play I gave out there on Winnable as well. I just thought this is just a situationally perfect fit for, especially with the losses. And this is where I said, I think that this trend stuff has a little bit of the sports almanac to it. Like the Back to the Future sports almanac, because it's like, there's no way this team should be 12.5, but then the books lay at 12.5. And then you look back at it and you see this little intersecting perfect situational spot. And it's like, okay, I see why they're concerned, because when this position happens, they get busted up and they don't want to get busted up tonight. So they're going to lay at 12.5 on the Rockets. And so are we, to see if we can't bust them books up. Mr. Wesker says they should win by 15 or more in theory. Mr. Wesker can't get behind these dirty mofo Houston's mofos. Timmy Dushu says Zach Werenski anytime goal. Columbus new coach bump, and Werenski gets his shots on goal. That is a coaching change that I wanted to talk about as well. Columbus Blue Jackets relieving their coach of duty and moving in to a new direction. Make sure you guys check out the Instagram play of the day on that puppy, and then let's bring you home. Let's bring you home with a big trend. What say you guys? You guys good with a big trend to finish off this card? I am. I like this play quite a bit here. This line opened up at 9.5. It's moved to 10.5. And you have 78% of the bets and 75% of the cash on the Trail Blazers. The Fire Blazers here. The 226 have moved down to 225.5 with 84% of the bets and 85% of the cash on the over. I don't know if Portland has Golden State's number, or Golden State just doesn't respect Portland, or if it's a combination therein. Because Portland's beaten Golden State the last 3 times they played them. Portland also has found themselves 1-4 in their last 5. Big back-to-back spots in the duplex game. One of the only teams to sweep the duplex spot on the season, the Portland Trailblazers. Now, Jamari Grant, Damian Lillard, Tybal, Henderson, Wesley, all look like they're going to be out of the lineup. Draymond Green is probable. That's a big move. We'll see what this official lineup looks like here. It's tough to get involved with lineup conversations for a 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. game at 7 p.m. Eastern here, when they could literally flip a switch 20 minutes before the game starts and decide they don't want to play. But I had to look at this one and say, I don't know if it's, I don't know. I don't know the answer. Is it disrespected? Is it that they feel disrespected? Is it still that Portland thinks Golden State? I don't know. Whatever the factor may be, they got their numbers, and I don't want to get in the way of that. Now, Northwest Division, heavy favorites. They should go out there and thump them. That's what they're saying here. And Portland's dealing with injuries. So on the other side of things, you got age issues with the Warriors and Curry, Green, and Butler. So I think that there's more depth with some of the younger guys for Portland. Now, I talked about the depth for a team like Denver because they're trading in the second round and they're moving back and they're getting the opposite for a team like Portland. They're amassing top-level picks, and so they've got youth and depth. And that, to me, makes them a very dangerous team. And I like them in this position to go out there and fire on these. Well, not fire, but I don't even know if I would say wrong team favorite. I just think it's too many points for Golden State. Should Golden State want to bounce back after their sleepy little performance? Yeah. You know, it should be one of those situational bounce back spots, 13-6. They lost to the Hawks 124-111, but again, I can validate that loss by saying, well, Atlanta's got some life. They're trying to get the hell out of Dodge. Conference dogs versus a defensive-oriented playoff team have won 17 straight times. That is a Portland Trailblazers spot. The Golden State Warriors fall into that playoff team. It's a big trend. It's one of the bigger ones we got on the card tonight. NBA road dogs after a long homestand. So in other words, sometimes it's, look, 5 of their last 6 games were at home. I'm sorry, wrong spot. Excuse me. Nonetheless, still rings true. It's 13-2. So as crazy as some of these spots sound, when you think about it, it's like, what does it really matter? It does matter. In the NBA, when you see these teams that are coming off of a long rip at home, and it's got to be more than 2 games, right? Scheduling has to start to take a part more so than injury management. Who gives a fuck? Sometimes these guys are hurt and they play better, especially when you start considering the depth and how these bad teams get good picks and the good teams get bad picks. And you got this situation where they just had 4 straight home games. Road dogs in the NBA after a long home stand are 13-2. That's the way we're going to put the bow on the show. You guys, appreciate everybody that joined us here this evening. Hopefully you will tail and cash with me, and we'll be back here tomorrow to talk about all the winners that we had. If you could do me the favor and smash the thumbs up button if you haven't done so already. That'll help us go a long way to continue to build this community. So I appreciate all you guys joining us here tonight. Check out the Instagram play of the day. I will drop the link right in here for you guys. Don't miss that plus 170 casher with me tonight. And good luck to everybody in their betting. Leave a comment after the show. Tell me your favorite play. Tell me how you're getting involved here. If you haven't turned your notifications on, turn that bell on for Sports Money Network. Don't miss any of the content that we drop as we drop it. Lots of new things coming down the pike. You guys stay tuned. Get ready. Get set. We're going to go back after it again.